Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Flutter Study Jam. I'm Mohammad Shahbaz Alam. I'm the organizer of GDG Ranchi, and we have planned to organize this 1 month course, which is called Flutter Study Jam. So, without any further ado, let's get started with the presentation. So Flutter Study Jam is a 1 month course material where we will meet twice, and this is the initial launch of the Study Jam. The second event is on the January 27th, and the last event is on February 10th. So you will get all these details on our meetup page. So let's get started. What is the agenda of today's talk? So today we will learn about what, why, and who should learn Flutter, and what is a study jam, and also I'll share about what is the course introduction. I'll introduce the course with you. I'll also share about knowledge about Flutter Code Lab, what is Code Lab, and how one should explore Code Lab, and how to participate this into Flutter Code Lab. So after that, there's a guest speaker with us. So I'll introduce by then who is the guest speaker. He's a surprise for us because he's joining. And at last, I'll conclude the Study Jam Hangout. So, sorry. So what is Flutter Study Jam? Flutter Study Jams are community-run study group based on Flutter's Udacity course. You will learn how to use Flutter to develop high-quality, interactive mobile application for iOS and Android devices. Why one should learn Flutter through the Flutter Study Jam? Study Jams are a great opportunity to learn Flutter in person and complete the course on Udacity. Everyone who completes the course will get a Google-offered Study Jam completion certificate and a profile badge. And I'll share about these details when we further proceed with the presentation. And who are the suited audience for Study Jam, the Flutter Study Jam? Those who are just getting started with the mobile app development, and those who have their programming experience on other mobile frameworks. So what is Study Jam? Study Jams are community-run study group for students and developers on Google Developers content on various products and topics. The objective of Study Jam is to raise the technical proficiency of our global community members through the highest possible course completion rate. Why you should attend Flutter Study Jam? You will work with Google instructor step by step to build a fully functional native unit converter app for both iOS and Android using Flutter. You will also learn how to set up your environment, start building your first Flutter application. You will also learn about fundamentals such as UI widgets, app states, material design, user interactions and gestures, and packages. Also, you will learn how to structure and architect your app and use Flutter's tooling to build app efficiently. Once you are done with the course, you will get a Google offered Study Jam completion certificate and a profile badge on Udacity. So how to participate in this Flutter Study Jam? It's very simple. The links are on the description of this video. Fill the Google form if you wish to participate. And next step is to register yourself to Udacity course, which is free. And I'll mention here, don't just see the content, sign in and complete the course so that you get the course certificate. Also, there is a link to Flutter Code Labs. Explore that code lab. This is how the form looks. We have asked basic details such as email, mail, and mobile number, and also few other questions about Flutter related. And we are also asking you, the participant, to tell us about what you want to learn and what we at GDG Ranchi can organize. Okay. And this is how the Udacity course looks like when you click on the Udacity course. Just click on this Start Free Course button and you're good to go. Just follow the course material and nothing much. And this is how the code lab looks. Once you're done with the Flutter study, all those course material on Udacity, come to this place, Code Lab, because here you learn more about Flutter, such as building the UI, the beautiful UI of Flutter. And if you're a backend fan and you want to explore much more, there is Firebase, and you can use Firebase and Flutter together to build amazing apps. And if you are a Java developer who loves Java, we ask you to uh, complete this intro to Dart for Java developers course. Which Dart is a very amazing language, and you will explore more when you are from the Java background. Also, there are a lot of tons of materials related to Flutter and material theming and all those things. So now the time has come to introduce our guest speaker, Pawan Kumar. He's a Google developer expert, and his expertise are Dart, Flutter, and web technologies. So over to Pawan. I'll just stop sharing my screen, and it's over to Pawan.
Hi everyone. So this is Pawan. I hope you might be knowing me if you know I'm Tech Viral. So thank you so much, Shahbaz, for inviting me here, and very happy to see the Ranchi community is growing. I was like, one day I was asking a Google person when you are going to launch something in the areas of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So it was like, we are about to start one of the world developers group there, and it's very happy to see that I want those areas to grow in the field of technology. So it's good to be here, and you might be knowing me because of Flutter only. So let's talk about Flutter, and let me see what I can help you with. So thanks so much. So anything you wanted to ask me would be like, then I guess it would be good way to start. I guess there is some network issue. So I'm not sure if you can hear me, Shahbaz. Should I start by myself, or you want to ask something? I think I have a very bad network here. So sorry for that.
We are live.
Yeah, it's fine now. I guess I can hear you
Yeah,
now.
there was some internet issue.
That happens with the live sessions. That's the problem.
You were saying something.
Is there something you wanted to ask, or I should start with something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that how a person who are just starting the Flutter, because these are the basics, right? What's on the Udacity course is just basics. So how one should learn from the basic and what all the curves they have to face, building a scalable and productive and like much more predictable app. So what are the tips and what things? What are your tips to those who want to explore much more?
So basically, if you are starting with Flutter, then you are writing in Dart, and I feel that Dart as a language is very good to start with. And the good thing about Flutter is that there is nothing like stopping you anywhere. There are a lot of stuff available online, and if you are talking about like from basic to advanced part, then also there are if you will meet different people, then they will have different opinions. But what I feel is that once you start as a beginner, then try to build few apps. Okay, it can be anything. Like it is not supposed to be some like, if you think like it's a very bad idea to develop small apps, or maybe you find that it will not be interesting for others. So don't think about that. Just try to build anything, and after that maybe you will see yourself with so many things around you, and then you will see a lot of option that how to grow myself and how to look for other things. If we talk about the scalability part, then obviously there are other practices like you should be aware of one of the design patterns. It can be anything. And the good part about Flutter is you don't have to pick a particular design pattern or particular architecture for your app, because here you don't have to deal with different languages. You are just writing in one language, which is Dart. You don't have to write your UIs in XML or something like that. So there is no barrier of different languages. And one problem with having two different languages, like there's a markup language XML in Android where you have to write the UI part, then you have to think about how you will perform the data binding and all that stuff. And in that particular scenario, you have to choose the best design pattern which can be like suitable for that particular use case. But here in Flutter, you have to write everything in Dart. So you just have to focus on how to divide your business logic and the presentation part. So that you can do by like any method. It can be, maybe if you are good with model view controller, then you can make something like a model view controller, or you can move to MVVM, which is kind of best way, I guess, these days. And I personally use it a lot. When I was developing in C#, then also I was using MVVM. In Android also, I have been using MVVM since some time. And in Flutter also, I kind of follow the MVVM. And the VM part, which is the view model, we in Flutter have something called a block pattern, which is business logic components. So you can use that, but in start I would not suggest that, because you have to understand the concept of streams, how streams work in Dart, because streams are very powerful thing. And because they are very powerful, you have to use them very carefully as well, because then you can have some issues like you can feel like that there's some memory leak issues and all that. So you have to use them very carefully. So I would not suggest that to use if you are beginning with Flutter, but after some time definitely you can take a look at block. So block will give you that advantage of having streams on the top of RX Dart. Things like RX Dart you can use. So that gives a good scalability overall. So I have like 3 to 4 apps right now in production for my company in Flutter itself. And maybe there are not many people who know that in my company we have a Flutter team as well. So now we have hired few people for Flutter. And when I started, I guess so we were the first one of the first company in India who started with Flutter. And like we are not the only one, but there are some companies in Bangalore and other stuff, other areas as well. But this is how we started, and now we have many products. And I can say that you can easily build scalable apps with Flutter. Maybe there can be different approaches, but one is like, if you will ask me about when we talk about reactive programming, when we talk about things like React Native, React, Flutter, then the only important thing which I feel is that how you will manage your states, like how you will manage how the rendering of your UIs on the screen. So that for that particular part, you can use something like a block pattern. Something is there like scope model or Redux. So these are different opinions depending on the level of expertise you have. If you are from a web, if you have an experience in web, then obviously you might be familiar with Redux and you will feel more comfortable in Redux. So that's also a very good choice. So at the end, it's all about like how well you know about the basic stuff, and then maybe you can choose any of the things which are available, and you can choose wisely which one suits you. So that's about it. I mean, I don't know whether I was able to convey the right message, but
I was about to ask about web developers, because we have a lot of the web developers with us in this group, and for that only I was here, like how a person who know a basics of like HTML and JavaScript or can jump from that platform to Flutter, and how easy it is from going to Android and going to Flutter.
So see, if you are going to Android from web, then it's a very different journey itself, because then you will not have probably the common things between them, because mobile works very differently if we talk about the native mobile app development, because then the concepts are different, the languages are different and all that. But when we talk about Flutter, I guess the good thing about Flutter is, if it doesn't matter from which background you are. If you are from web background, then you can relate some stuff from web, because the developers behind Flutter are web developers. You can say that they used to work in the Chrome team, and they had that experience of web, and that's why they wanted to implement the same things in for mobile. And we all know from our past experiences that mobile app development is not easy, in terms of that how much time it takes for the compilation and all that. So they also keep that thing in mind, that if someone is coming from the mobile background already, then also it should not take that much time for him to understand the basics of Flutter. So it's like, if you are coming from web, then you will relate with things like, let's give me an example, that suppose if you are using HTML and CSS, then you might be aware of the div, right? So div is kind of a container, and similarly you will find all the things in Flutter as it is. Like, there is a widget called container, okay? It will also have the same properties like you have in div, and the purpose of div in HTML is the purpose of container in Flutter. So these are some things which you can relate, and obviously it's not like how you will find these things, right? This is also a question. So if you will go to flutter.io, there's a whole section of if you are a web developer, then how to start with Flutter. So there is a portion called Flutter for web devs. Then if you are from a React Native background, then how to start with it. Then there is Flutter for Android devs, Flutter for iOS devs, Flutter for Xamarin devs. So they have kind of a very
I
good.
guess Flutter is for all, like
Yeah.
for all, every person who want to develop mobile application. And even with the Flutter Live, when we were seeing Flutter Live last month, we organized Flutter Live, and we saw that like people can develop for web as well, and like there's a lot of things happening in Flutter.
And
So
the
that's
one
very.
thing I can suggest is, different people will say different things, and nobody wants to talk negative about anything which on which they work, right? But what I can say about Flutter is, you just have to try it. Just give it one day or maybe 2 days, and I can assure you that you will not feel like I have been put into some trouble or something. You will
Like,
definitely.
or we have wasted our time. That's not like that
Yeah,
in with
that's
Flutter.
that. And definitely, I personally feel that there is no technology which is going to replace anything. It will be an add-on for you. Okay, you will learn something from it. And things like Flutter is good for the community, because there should be something for developers, and if something is solving a pain, then you should welcome it. So that's what I think.
Thanks for your valuable suggestions and your tips to study about Flutter and how one should go from basics to advanced, all the stuff. So, and I'll just to end this session, I'll ask once again. I'll share my screen, and we'll head over to this presentation.
I guess you can also take few questions in the live session if they are coming, because I am sure
Okay.
people would be asking something. So
Let me see if there is there any live sessions. Just wait. And let me see on the YouTube section. Do we have any questions? So we have a question. Do we what are the common mistake people make with Flutter?
can you hear me?
Yeah. So there's a question on the YouTube section like, what are the common mistake people make while developing Flutter with the Flutters?
the good thing about Flutter is that whenever people make any mistake, then they end up with having something. Like they build something and they don't even know, they think like this is a mistake, but they build something amazing. So there is nothing like a common mistake people make in Flutter. It's always something which is like we also see something every day. Like people are building a lot of things with Flutter, and every day I see like how this guy has done this. So it's like every day there are a lot of things which people are doing and everyone is enjoying it. So there is a quote about Flutter that nothing is impossible in Flutter. It's all about what you can think and you can build with Flutter. So that's what we feel. I can also see one question that can I start Flutter without doing native Android or React Native? Then yes, this is the answer. And will my videos help in 2019 because I made them in 2017 December? Then there might be few videos which might be like right now not good, because things have changed a lot, versions have changed a lot. When I made those videos, then many libraries were in I guess alpha and all, but the concept would be the same. The syntax can be different a little bit, but don't worry, I keep making videos on Flutter, so there are a lot of content available, and more will come very soon in future as well. So I guess,
Like if people if you have any more questions, please ask on the chat section. And again, Pawan makes a lot of videos related to Flutter. I guess you have some channel or some area he publishes, and I'll share with you all the details where his videos can be found. And there was one question related to like the course completion. Once you're done with the course completion, what people can expect, like after like completing the course on Udacity. So is there any career opportunities? So as Pawan said, I guess already, that in his company he has a particular dedicated team related to Flutter. So people are adopting Flutter, and industries and developers are learning much uh, in Flutter. So you have a career, as you had a career in Android earlier. So we have more opportunities coming up in future related to Flutter.
yeah, one thing I want to mention here is that whenever a new technology comes, then it always takes some time for to establish itself in the market. And the way Flutter has proven itself in last 1 year, I personally feel that there will be a lot more opportunities for Flutter comparing to anything else. So it's just about waiting for the right time. And I have seen that opportunities have grown a lot in the past few months. So it's not about that there will not be any opportunity, especially if we talk about the service based companies. Then you can just think that how much effective Flutter can be for their for their use cases. So I definitely feel that there will be a lot of opportunities in future. And to be honest about the Udacity course which you mentioned, I'm not a very big fan of that Udacity course, because I feel that there are many things which is like maybe there can be some problems with the beginners with the Udacity course. So I definitely will prefer that you go to the code labs. Okay, also see the documentation. Code labs are very nice, and you should definitely give it a try. And also start with the Udacity course. See yourself, if you are able to understand, then definitely it's a good way to start. But if you are not, if you are stuck somewhere, then don't feel like this is not something which you cannot learn. You can go to there. Like I have never seen anything like Flutter which have n number of content available in the first 1 year or something, because although the credit goes to all of us, but the thing is that when I started with Android, there were not sufficient content available. So there is no barrier with Flutter. There are a lot of articles. If you are good with writing or reading articles, then there are n number of articles. If you don't like articles, if you follow videos more, then there are a lot of videos. And the best thing is there is a very good documentation available on flutter.io. So you don't have to restrict yourself on anything. Just go ahead and start learning.
Thank you for the suggestion. And again, I'll mention again, all the details are listed on the description section. The Flutter Code Lab, Flutter.io, docs, all those details are on the description. If you have any query, just fill that form. We'll contact you and let you know if you stuck somewhere. Just feel free to ask. So on that note, I'll just share my screen and in this session. So yeah, so this is our meetup page. If you're not registered with us, like if you haven't joined this group, please join GDG Ranchi. We are just starting to shape up into a very good developer community, and we'll eventually become one. So please join this group and like wait for our next meetups and all those stuff. And please follow these hashtags and like tweet all those hashtags when you're stuck somewhere on Flutter Study Jam. If you need any help, just follow just tag the Flutter Study Jam RNC tag, and we'll help you with your queries. And also you can use some global Flutter hashtags so that people around the world can also help you if you're stuck somewhere else. So that's it. And happy Flutter, happy studying. And that's it from me and Pawan. So
Yeah.
thanks for joining.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
everyone.